Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm going to be ranking the films of David Fincher, another one of my personal favorite directors of all time. He's probably the GOAT of psychological thriller movies, so I can't wait to rank his films today. Let's just get right into the rankings. At number 12, I have Panic Room. Now, this is a very underrated film. If you're into psychological thriller movies and you're looking for one to watch tonight, I would go check this out. Jodie Foster is really, really good in this. It's just, when you have a director with such a strong filmography, very, very good films are going to be at the bottom of the list just because they're that great of a director. So this is by no means a film that you should pass up. It's just one of his weaker films. And yeah, if you're looking for a psychological thriller to watch tonight, check it out. Or check out my number 11 pick, The Game. Again, amazing performances by Michael Douglas and Sean Penn. It's super underrated. Like most of these films, I'm not going to get too much into the plot because it's better if you go in blind if you haven't seen them yet. It's just the case with psychological thrillers. But yeah, go check out The Game if you haven't seen it yet. At number 10, I have Alien 3. Now, it's hard to live up to the first Alien. The first Alien by Ridley Scott is such an amazing thriller horror film that it's hard to live up to that. It might be the best horror film of all time. I've seen people make that argument, and it's a good argument. Aliens, the sequel, I think is a bit of a step down. Some people like it more. I just think that there's too many aliens, too many guns. James Cameron kind of butchers what Ridley Scott was going for, in my opinion, but it's still a great, great film. And Alien 3, unfortunately, is another step down. There are some concepts and some themes in there that I really like. I just don't think they were done to perfection, and there's some moments that drag a little bit, but I still think Alien 3 is a very underrated film, and it's not that much of a step down from Aliens than people might remember. So I'm going to put that at number 10. At number 9, I have a film that came out last year. I actually did a full review on it. If you want to go see my expanded thoughts, it's The Killer. It came out straight to Netflix, so you can go check it out on there. Man, what to say about this film? It's an exploration of what a cold-blooded killer would actually be like. Now, we have all these films like John Wick and Nobody and Jason Bourne and Mission Impossible, and these guys who just, kill people without a second thought. But what if you took a guy like that, a guy who was super skilled, who knew what he was doing, who had a plan, and you actually kind of dug into his head a little bit and got into the psychology of somebody who would kill like that. And this is kind of what that film goes through. It's also based on a comic book. I haven't read it myself, but go check it out. Let me know how it is. And yeah, I really liked The Killer. So I'm going to put that at 9. And number 8, I have Mank, another film that went straight to Netflix. If you're into cinema history or just history in general, I would go check this film out. It goes over kind of the creation and the making of Citizen Kane and how it was written. And that's very, very interesting. And it's one of Gary Oldman's best performances. Now, I don't think it's like up there with Leon the Professional. I think that that's like one of the best villain performances ever. But Gary Oldman's just such a strong actor that he has so many great performances. But it's up there. It's one of his better performances. And it's in black and white, which is a cool stylistic choice. Citizen Kane's probably the most famous black and white film of all time. So I liked seeing that too. And yeah, I have Mank at number 8. At number 7, I have a film that I actually haven't seen probably since around it came out, and that's The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. So it's been a long time since I've seen this film, but I do have very, very fond memories watching it. I watched it with my mom, and for months after watching this film, I was thinking about it constantly. Like, what would it be like to age in reverse? And just playing with that concept in my head as a young kid was very, very interesting. It kind of got me a little bit deeper into concept films too. So I really like The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. It deserves a rewatch for me. And as far as I remember, Kate Blanchett and Brad Pitt are stellar in it. So yeah, I have that at number 7. At number 6, I have Zodiac. Now, Zodiac obviously is about the Zodiac killer. It blurs some of the lines, but it is a pretty good story about that killer and the horrible things that he did. But I think the one thing I would say about this film is that it's Fincher at his Fincheriest. Fincher at his most Finchery. I know I'm making up words right now, but this feels like the most Fincher film, and I don't know exactly why. I think it's because of, how moody it is and the cinematography and the use of slow motion. It's just, It's brilliant, and the cast is like an Avengers cast. Like, you got Jake Gyllenhaal, Mark Ruffalo, Robert Downey Jr., Brian Cox, just to name a few. It's a super stacked cast, and yeah, I also think this film's a little bit underrated. At number 5, I have The Social Network. Now, this is a film that I rewatched probably 5 or 6 times in the first month after I first saw it. The first time I saw this film, I took it to a bunch of my friends and I was like, yo, we got to watch this film. And they're like, what is it about? And I'm like, it's a biopic kind of about Mark Zuckerberg. And they're like, that sounds so boring. And I'm like, just watch the first 5 to 10 minutes. I promise you, after 5 to 10 minutes, we can turn it off if you want, but you'll probably be hooked. And all of them were hooked. That opening scene is amazing. The whole film is brilliantly, brilliantly written. It's also amazingly acted. You have Jesse Eisenberg, Andrew Garfield, Justin Timberlake, and Armie Hammer all giving probably their best performances of their career. And I love The Social Network. I go back and rewatch it all the time just because it's so well written. Like, the writing in it is just perfect. At number 4, I have Gone Girl. Speaking of brilliant writing, this was a film that I saw in theaters when I was 14. Okay, I saw this film when I was 14 in theaters, and it kind of took me for a spin. I wasn't expecting anything. Like, I kind of went in blind, and the way it kind of spins on its head the trope of like a psychological thriller killer not being the male but being the female this time, I thought that was brilliant because I didn't see it coming. I thought the whole first half of the movie, like, Ben Affleck's going to be the bad guy. He's going to be the guy who kills his wife or whatever. Like, I was on board with that, but then it just spins the entire genre on its head, and then it's the female. It's Rosamund Pike's character, Amy. And wow, what a performance by Rosamund Pike. And that's saying a lot. She has so many amazing performances in her career, and this is arguably her best. Ben Affleck's also great in this. Neil Patrick Harris, Tyler Perry. Fincher always brings out amazing performances from his actors. But yeah, Gone Girl, just at the time, kind of took me for a spin. And then I had to go buy the book afterwards, obviously. And the book's just as good as the movie, so I highly recommend the book as well. And number 3, speaking of a film that I also recommend the book for, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Now, this is a film that I saw a little bit after it came out. I didn't see this in theaters because I would have been 11 at the time. But I remember going to the library and taking out The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I was super intrigued by all the trailers, and I accidentally took out the Swedish version. So I'm sitting there at home watching this, almost 3-hour film, and it's in Swedish, so it has subtitles, and I'm like, okay, when is it going to switch to English here? Where is Daniel Craig? When is he going to show up? I ended up watching the whole film and then realizing, oh, this is the wrong version. So I go back to the library, take out the Fincher version, bring it home, and then watch it basically the day after. So I had a little bit of a compare and contrast. And while the Swedish version has some scenes that are even darker than the Fincher version, you could just tell the level of direction. And that really kind of opened my eyes to, like, how powerful a good director can be. Just comparing scenes and shots, you add the Fincher lighting and the moodiness and the cinematography, and it just elevates the film even more. And Daniel Craig's amazing in this, but Rooney Mara, she carries the film. she takes it away. I don't know if she won or was up for Best Actress for this film, but she should have been. It was an amazing performance by her. So I have The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo at number 3. Again, highly recommend the book as well. Getting into my top 2 now. The top 2 kind of have a little bit level up above everybody else. These top 2 films are, I highly regard them as, like, in the top 10, in the top 25 films ever made. They're that good. At number 2, I'm putting Seven. I know a lot of people have this as their number 1, and fair enough, but there's one film I like a little bit more. Seven was a film that absolutely destroyed me the first time I watched it. If you've ever seen it and you know the ending, then you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, Seven is so dark and so brutal, and not only, like, is it visually shocking, but it's also like it gets into your head psychologically and twists things around. The seven deadly sins and the way it plays with that is so interesting. I've watched this film many times. I've written a couple essays on this film, so eventually I will do a full film analysis video on it, but it is a deep film. And amazing acting performances too. I mean, you got Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt just killing it the whole movie, and then you get towards the end, and then Kevin Spacey comes in and he's like, "Hey, hold my beer," and then he gives a tremendous acting performance. So, yeah, I love Seven so much. There's just one film I love a little bit more than it, and of course, it's Fight Club. I'm a young man in my 20s. You knew it was going to be number one. Fight Club for me is a film it's always going to be in my top 10 films of all time. If there's one film out of the thousands of films that I've seen, if there's one film I could go back and rewatch for the first time again, it's probably Fight Club. If you've seen the film, then you know. But yeah, that's a special experience that I'll never get back. Although I will say every time I rewatch Fight Club, it's a new film to me. I get so much more out of it every time I watch it. It completely changes, and that really that really draws me to it. That's why I put it so high, is how much it changes from each rewatch. It's brilliant. It's endlessly brilliant. And yeah, like I said, when that Pixies song hits at the end of the movie, first time I watched it, I went to my bedroom and I just sat in my bed just staring at the ceiling like, man, that was an experience, and I wish I could relive it even now, even just 10 minutes after I had it. Yeah, Fight Club is a life-changing movie for sure, and a film that I love very, very deeply. So that's my rankings for David Fincher's films. Please let me know in the comments, how would you rank his films? What was the first David Fincher film that you watched? What's your favorite? I love hearing stories like that from you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps boost this channel and the algorithm. Yeah, thank you guys for watching so much. I'll catch you guys in the next one, and peace.